This tutorial is for Lesson 4 homework in Mobius, question number 4. Wynonna has a job earning $8.74 per hour. She works 12 hours a week and receives a paycheck every 2 weeks. How much does Wynonna earn each paycheck before taxes are taken out? So the first thing I did is I just pulled out the relevant information over here, and we can just use that to calculate how much she will earn. So this is what she earns. Yeah, we'll put earnings. There we go. So to do that, she earns $8.74 every hour, and she works 12 hours a week. Since I have this here, I'm just going to cell reference instead of typing it out. So I'm just going to left click here. If you're more comfortable calculating this by hand, you can feel free to use a calculator, or even just using Excel, you can type out 8.74. This way, I like being able to see what I'm cell referencing here. After I press enter, it'll change this, and this way I can still see. So 874 times 12 hours per week, and then 2 weeks. Oh, I should cell reference that. You know what? I'm going to change this because the weeks are in here. I can't cell reference that as a 2. So I'm going to press enter and just fix this here. Paycheck every 2 weeks. This is in weeks. Oh, and it wants that as money. So we're going to go change this. Go to home. We're going to format the cell, not as currency, just general. There we go. So now I can come back in here and finish this by multiplying it by 2 weeks. Again, just a left click, let go, press enter, and that tells me how much she will earn at the end of her 2 weeks. $209.76, rounding to the nearest cent. Okay, the second part here says, suppose taxes are 13% of Wynonna's earnings. Select the mathematical equation that is the translation of the underlined part of the sentence. So the first thing is, taxes are. Are is another variation or tense of the word is, just changing it to from singular to plural. So here we have taxes are, because taxes are plural, we can't say taxes is. But that is the same translation from English to our math sentence, which is equals. So we're going to look for the option where it says taxes is or equals or are 13%, so we'll change that to 0.13 of, translating to a math sentence is multiplying, and her earnings, which we found but we'll insert later. So we need taxes equals 0.13 times her earnings. So let's see if we can find that. That's times, this says R, so that doesn't work. Taxes equals. Okay, these three so far are working. Now we need to move to the next part, 13% of. Oh, down here we have add and subtract. In the previous examples, when you see the 1 plus or the 1 minus, that means 100% of something, and then you're increasing that, or 100% of something and subtracting that. This is when you see more than or less than. This doesn't say more than or less than. It is simply 13% of, which is multiplying, so it's here. A very easy mistake to make, especially in your test, when you see this and you think, oh, it says 13% of, and she has 100% of her earnings, and they're taking her taxes away, to get confused and maybe try and take one of these. So remember, if you see the 1 here, that means it has 100%, and we're adding or subtracting from that 100% of that, and that gives you more than or less than. These will always be more than or less than in the sentence. This was just of, so we take it. The next one. If the tax rate is 13%, how much does Wynonna pay in taxes each paycheck? So this is kind of a tricky problem here, because if you get this one wrong, you'll probably get this one wrong. So what we need to do is 13% of her earnings. So we'll just come over here and use Excel. So we're going to find her taxes by equaling, because we want it to calculate like a calculator, 0.13, changing the 13% to a decimal, times her earnings. Since I have that here, I'm just going to left click to cell reference, press enter, and that tells me how much money she has to pay on taxes. So we're going to put $27.27. And we rounded to the nearest cent, so that looks good. The next part. Next month, Wynonna will receive a 3% raise because she has been outperforming her boss's expectations. This means Wynonna's new hourly rate will be 3% more than $8.74 per hour. Here's where we end up with the more than sentence. That means it's 100% of the original, and then she gets 3% on top of that, on top of the original. So this is where we will look for the more complex equation here. We have the original plus that 3%, and that original. So we're going to come down here. This is just 3% of her $8.75. So her new hourly rate will be, again, the will be, so we're translating. This will be just means future tense of the word is, so it's equals. So we're going to look for hourly rate equals. So the only one that fits that so far, going from left to right, are these first two. And this first one is just 3% of, and this one says 100% plus an extra 3% of what she was making. So this is our new hourly rate. And they want us to calculate that for her. What will her new hourly wage be? So we want 3% increasing. So we're gonna, you know what, let's just use this equation here and come over here for her new wage. New. And let's make this a little bigger. Equals. So her new wage equals, or new hourly rate equals 1 plus 0.03. I'm going to give ourselves some parentheses. 1 plus 0.03 and close the parentheses. And times, and since I have it listed here, I'm just going to cell reference instead of typing 874. And just one left click, press enter, and that gives us her new hourly rate. And if this was too small, if you missed another video, these hashtags or number signs just mean that your rows or your column is too small. It's squishing the numbers, so it can't tell you what's in there. Okay, so the new hourly wage will be $9, and it wants you to round to the nearest cent. So make sure you put 0.00, even though there's nothing beyond that. The next one says, what will Wynonna's new 2-week paycheck earning be? The benefit here of using Excel is that I could go ahead and just redo what I did here, or because I cell referenced in the earnings right here, you'll see I cell referenced all of these. If I change her wage here to $9, and yes, it'll change over here, but we already wrote down our $9, so don't worry about this anymore. If I change this to a 9 and press enter, this calculation down here is now calculating everything above it with the new $9, and we have her new earnings of $216, which will be her new 2-week paycheck. Much faster than redoing this entire thing by hand. If you're not comfortable with that, go ahead and use your calculator, or you can, over here you can, let's see, you can come over here and do the same thing. So we do equals the $9 times her 12 hours a week times 2 weeks, and you'll get it over here. Either way is fine, but that's just a really fast, easy trick that maybe some of you will enjoy. The next thing is, what will Wynonna's new taxes be? Again, in doing the 9 here, these taxes that we already calculated are right here, and we can just type that in straight from the calculations too. I don't have to redo it. Another major benefit with Excel. And also, just really quickly here, make sure you round that to the nearest cent by putting your 2 zeros. And the next one, it's already here, so we're just going to type in $28.08 and verify that I got everything in here. We can click How Did I Do? And scroll through to make sure all of the green check marks line up. And good luck on this one. I hope some of these tips and tricks help you on your homework.